about to land on the big blind here. I was just thinking about bankroll management. I am $10 away from where I want to be before I start playing 100 an L. And I suppose I could play 100 an L, but just to be disciplined, I'm playing 50 an L until I actually meet the requirements for playing 100 an L. Not a bad habit to get into and to stick to. I like playing full ring, mostly because the competition, is softer on full ring than it is on six max. I don't know if that's true for anywhere but Ignition, but it's certainly true on Ignition. And table selection is so important. Having a winning strategy. So those are the two big ones: table selection and bankroll management out of the way. My bankroll management strategy is a recreational one. I'm not a professional player, not a coach. But I do make money, and I try to play a disciplined strategy. It's more fun than losing. My bankroll strategy requires me to have 12 buy-ins for stake, which is not as important as the second part of that strategy, which is if I go below 12 buy-ins, I move down. Period. That's key. With this strategy, I have been consistently over my career, my non-professional career, to make money. Because I started at the lowest of stakes, so my initial deposit on Ignition was very small. And I have never gone below that initial deposit, which means that I have never lost money. Now, I might, and this has happened several times, where I make, just picking numbers out of the thin air, let's say I get up to $2,000 in my deposit on Ignition from starting at $200. Then I go on a losing streak, a downswing, and let's say I go down to $1,100, and I move down to 50 an L. And at 50 an L, I keep losing. And I go down to $550. So I go down to 25 an L. This has happened. This can happen. And one time I had to go down to 10 an L. But I never got below 200 and worked my way back up. So, yeah, there's a lot of room for pretty big downswing in my strategy. And even if I did, well, that's interesting. Okay, let's see. I have a mediocre hand on a very polarizing board. I'm just going to check here. Don't want to do anything silly. If you bet, and I picked up a little extra equity, which I'll preserve by checking again. Don't want to. It's okay. Okay. This is an interesting spot. I'm just going to call. Yep, as thought. So, could have lost a lot there. Did not. I'll give myself a good grade for that. But yeah. Don't want to go crazy there. Makes sense that the person out of position with top pair, weak kicker on a monotone board would check there. Surprised they didn't bet on the turn, but you know, I'm glad I didn't bet on the turn. Again, sort of a interesting hand. What do we have? This guy is playing pretty tight. I'm just going to fold there. I don't think 4-5 offsuit out of position is strong enough against a hijack type player. Although obviously I have to make my normal caveat here about relying too much on stats. It's an anonymous table, which suits me very well because I can play exploitatively. And which honestly I tend to do less of in multi-way pots. I think it's a little treacherous in multi-way pots to get out of line. Sometimes, though, there's certainly if was it seat 5? If seat 5 had checked there, I would have probably bet to try and take it down or get value. Small bet, use a really small blocker bet there to get a little value. Someone may call with a worse pair. If you use a big bet there, it depends on the opponents, obviously, but I'm not sure how much fold equity. Again, it's a very polarizing run out. Got possible straight, possible flush, and second pair you don't want to go too big, but third pair might call small bet, and if you get raised, you just fold. Don't lose too much. I think that's okay. I could make an argument against in favor of folding against that small bet by seat 5 there. but that would be leaning really heavily on that player's statistics without any additional information. Except that he has a full stack. That means something. He plays with a full stack. That's a sign of a better player. Oh wow. That's poker for you. That's poker. Can't get upset about those things. You know, it's really easy to say, harder to, take your own advice there, but I try really hard not to get upset when I make a good play and my opponent lucks out and sucks out on the river. What can you do? It happens. I had a couple bad beats the last couple days. Lost my stack a couple times on bad runouts, and I had the idea. I've never done this before, but I had the idea just to go and look at my graph on Hold'em Manager, and those two bad beats, they were so insignificant compared to my graph, right? It really helped for me to see like, oh, that means nothing in the big picture, right? I think at that time, I had $900 on deposit, 700 of which I had made in about 1,400 hands because I had recently emptied some money into my savings account. So when I do that, I start from scratch because I'm just playing for fun. And so 1,400 hands, $700. I was playing at 50 an L at the time, so I lost $100. And if you look at it on the graph, it's really not that big a deal, right? Like the big deal is going from $200 to $900 in 1,400 hands. I do a stock analysis also. I'm a certified data analyst. It helps poker a lot, obviously. They both help each other, actually. Poker helps me think about stocks, and stocks help me think about poker. But it really helps me to have a grounding in statistics. Just to get back to classifying players, for example, if you understand Bayes' theorem, makes it so much easier to be confident in your classifications of other players. A simplified version of Bayes' theorem is that generally one piece of information is meaningless and two pieces of information is determinative. That's a gross simplification, but it's kind of what it is. So you have two guys. One guy has a bankroll of 100 big blinds, and you've seen him lose a couple hands and top up each time, but not losing a lot. Just small losses, and then he tops up. and his stats are, let's say his VPIP is 15, and his raise first in is 0, which are pretty bad stats and indicate that the guy is maybe a little nitty. And then you have another guy who has 65 big blinds in his stack. You've seen him call once pre-flop with pocket aces, flop a set on a very, very dynamic board that kind of suits his opponent's range as much as it does his range. Maybe there's a 3 flush out there, or king, queen, 10 or something like that, with a 2 flush, something dynamic, and which probably favors his opponent, who is the open raiser. The opponent checks, he checks back. Another favorable card comes for him. Let's say the deuce is a brick. The turn is a brick. His opponent bets half pot, and he calls. Let's say, I think king 10 offsuit is a fold there. You've got a relatively early position. Guy's stats aren't on a line. He's got more than 100 big blinds. He's betting. It's kind of a fish size, but if he thinks he has an edge, maybe he bets a little bigger because of that. That's the wrong size for that flop. Anyway, sorry. I think king 10 offsuit is a fold there. Going back to the other thing where these two guys play very differently but have the exact same stats, but you get a lot of other information, right? It's pretty clear that the one guy is a nit. It's not so clear with the other guy. In fact, it may just be, it happens to all of us. You just don't get cards. And when you do get cards, you're on the big blind, and you have cards, you have a playable hand, but it's not a great playable hand, so you just call. It's not in your, this guy, this could be a 4-bet. I'm gonna do a 4-bet just for fun here. This is a bluff. If this guy does anything nutso, thank you, sir. People don't 4-bet bluff enough at these stakes, so 4-bet bluff is a really good play. Because at 50 an L, everybody kind of assumes you have a monster because very few people bluff, but that's a good hand to bluff with suited ace-5. Lots of possibilities post-flop there. Guy calls, you're not in terrible shape. But I do think, generally in that situation, if you have a hand It is a strong candidate for bluffing. And the 3-bet is not huge, you know. The pot is 4.5. It's not even 2 times pot size. That 3-bet. So yeah, I think bluff is the highest EV there, probably. Not based on GTO, but just based on understanding pool. Yeah. So back to classifying players. Seems okay there. What are you going to do? You can fold ace king offsuit in pre-flop. I know that seems crazy, but and it wasn't the wrong play at all. I mean, calling there, that jam is fine. It's good. It's not bad. But you can fold ace king offsuit in that situation. If you do the math and you assume that seat four's jamming range there is aces, kings, maybe some queens. I'm gonna fold. This guy's playing a lot of hands, but this is that one piece of information thing. He may have just gotten some really good hands early on. No reason to overinterpret that he's playing 60% of hands. He's playing them all aggressively. If I get more information, I'll know more about that guy. Back to the queens against ace king offsuit. You're in position, so you can just call the initial raise there, I think, sometimes. This guy's looks pretty passive, so he's playing, if he's opening with a raise, again, one piece of information, don't want to overinterpret, but you could say, well, maybe I'll just call here with my ace king. See what happens, right? And when that king comes out on the flop, and this guy checks to you, maybe you can get him off his hand by betting. Maybe not, but if, I forget, it was the queen on the river or the turn. Let's say it was on the river. The turn is a brick. He checks to you. You bet again. You have top pair, right? So I'm going to go through 2 scenarios here. First scenario is the queen comes on the river. He checks to you. You check back. You have a pair. You have a good pair, top kicker. But it's not the nuts. You could bet. You could bet a smaller size there on the river. If it goes check, call, check, bet, call, check, bet, call, check, bet small or smaller. Don't want to bet the farm is what I'm saying there. What do we got? Oh, we got a bet in hand. And then if he jams, then you fold. Because he's got better than one pair. He's got something that can beat top pair, top kicker. This you can go either way on. You can bet. Because I don't have a diamond or a spade, I'm just going to check. Same thing here. I'm going to go for a little bet here. See if I can get him off something. No. If he checks here, yeah, I'm going to go for it here. I got nothing. Let's see. See what happens. He's got to have a flush. Yep. Yep. Poker is fun. The other thing that could happen is, when the queen comes on the river, he jams or he bets. I think it's really on bet size. You don't want to call a jam, obviously. You probably can call a half pot there. But even that, I might just fold, All I have is a pair. I know it's top pair, top kicker. But, yeah, if you think about his range, got to go back to the origin range. If he three bets there, he's got pocket aces, pocket kings, maybe pocket queens, right? And ace king suited, and probably ace king unsuited there. So the best you're going to do by calling a big bet on the river is split the pot. So is it worth it? No. It's just not worth it. Don't play, you do play the strength of your hand versus his likely range, but you don't play just the strength of your hand, right? You don't say, "Ooh, I got top pair. Ooh, I got top kicker." Not gonna work. That's a really good way to lose money. Probably one of the best ways to lose money. And it goes for all sorts of hands, of course. It's not just top pair, top kicker. It's two pair. In the right circumstances, two pair is a great hand. In the wrong circumstances, it's a very weak hand. Even a set, right? If your set is a board pair plus a card in your hand, in the right circumstances, trips is not a good hand. Not a bad hand, but not the be-all and end-all. But even a traditional set, if you have a pair and the other guy, there's a straight on the board, there's a flush on the board, there's a full house on the board, and the other guy is screaming to get it all in. Maybe think about folding that set. I've done it. I have done it. I used to say when I was just learning, a little bit beyond just learning. After I'd only been playing poker for a couple years, I have a regular poker buddy. We actually meet online virtually 3 or 4 times a week. It's a big part of our study. It's so good. It's such a good thing to do. If you can do that, do that. Find someone who's at your level or a little better. He's a little better than I am. And just talk all the time about strategy and always keep the focus on expected value. What's the most expected value you can get out of a situation? We watch videos together, YouTube videos, and talk about them, that kind of thing. We do hand histories together, Sometimes he'll He'll watch me play and critique my play live. Sometimes I'll do the same for him. Yeah, really, really helpful. If I were, this is, every once in a while I get someone who wants to learn how to play poker, who asks me for help and direction about the best way. And I always, who knows what I know? First of all, let me put a big caveat here. Like I said, I'm not a professional player. I'm not a coach. All I have is my experience, like what I did, and it worked for me, and I do make money. Period. There's no qualification of that. I mean, I don't consider going on a 2-month downswing losing money. That's just part of the game. So yeah, we're all going to lose money at points, but as long as I do not play outside my bankroll discipline, that's okay. I'm going to lose money, quote unquote. But that's not really losing money. That's just playing poker. But what I always say to them, I say, watch this video first, not this one we're making right now and watching, but watch the fundamentals of No Limit Hold'em. I forget the guy's name. It's such a good first video to watch. It's it was made right at the advent. Ooh, this is interesting. What's this guy? I'm going to fold, believe it or not. Yeah. If you want to talk about why I folded there, happy to do it. But ace queen offsuit, out of position against an early position raise from a guy who doesn't look insane. Yeah. I mean, who knows? Could be wrong. But I don't think it's... one way to think about it, which has been very helpful to me about what to do in a situation like that, with the ace queen offsuit, is to think about his opening range and what are the weakest hands in his range. And ace queen offsuit is one of the weaker hands in his range. So do I want to play one of the weaker hands in his range out of position against him? Right? Probably not. So, yeah. I mean, maybe, no, it's just a good fold. I'm sorry. I'll go to court with that argument. I used to be a lawyer also. I was a good lawyer. So you may wonder, why is this guy who's a data analyst and an attorney making poker videos instead of making money as a data analyst and attorney? Well, I'm older than I look. I'm old. Yeah. I'm creeping up on 70 years old. And I'm sick. I have terminal cancer. Sort of had to retire from life. And poker kind of saved my life. Having something to do is really, really critical, I think. For me, at least. I can't watch TV, my wife and I will watch, we're very picky, but we will watch some streaming shows when she's not working, and movies, but I just can't. I can't even watch sports anymore. Um, I'm not going to go on a rant. But anyway, so yeah, poker has really made a difference in my illness, as we can call it. And I've done really, really well. Don't feel sorry for me. I have outlived. Okay, this is a very similar situation, but I'm ending the action. Well, I wasn't last time, but I'm just gonna. This is suicidal, but I'm gonna call. You can fold that. And I'm going to use my disadvantage to my advantage here. If he bets, he'll probably range bet, hopefully, which is a big mistake on this board. Oh, no. It's not a range bet. It's a good bet on this board. He has the overpair advantage. I'm not going to fuck around anymore. Yeah. So I would have raised a range bet there. Yeah. This guy is playing, looks like he's got a big stack. Looks like he's just kind of waiting for straighters. Ugh. Yeah. Again, that could have been a bluff, nice bluffing hand in that situation, except, he was isolating. He wasn't just opening, so that's why I folded there instead of raising. Yeah. Discipline, man. Okay, that's an easy fold. Don't even remember what the last thing I was talking about was. Oh yeah, being sick and old. Yeah, but it sucks. I could go into the suckitude of it. There's a lot of side effects that are unpleasant, but in another way, it's great. I know that sounds funny, but I wouldn't wish anyone to be in my position, but it is incurable, right? That's the thing, but it's like everyone's different, and I have responded really well to chemotherapy. Cancer's still there, but it's not, it came back, but it's growing very slowly. So you gotta get the right attitude, right? That's the key. I keep getting in these situations. Isn't that funny? This is about folding really. This session is about folding good hands in bad situations. Right? What are you gonna do? Aggression is really important in poker, but it has to be thoughtful aggression, in my book. Not just being aggressive for aggression 6. So an early position open, very tight range. Probably has ace-jack offsuit in their range, but might not. Some people don't, at full ring from under the gun. I don't play ace-jack offsuit under the gun full ring. My weakest ace is ace-queen offsuit. I'll play most of the suited aces, of course, but not all of them. This guy is new to the table, so let's see what this new guy does. What does this new guy think about a 2 big blind raise? He thinks he calls. Oh, this is good. This is pretty good. I'm going to do my old 1 big blind bet here on a suited board. Ooh, baby. Now there's 2 choices here. We could bluff, or we could check back. If we check back, we're going to get bet into. I'm going to go for a full pot bluff. Yep. That's a strategy that works really well. On a 3 flush flop, monotone flop. Oh, this is a hand I can play from here. I haven't been paying enough attention to the total vibe. Who's in the blinds? Hard to say. I'm just going to fold. If I had a strong read that the big blind was a fish, I might play that from there. Well, that's a shitty 3-bet size. So that can mean one of 2 things. Either the big blind wants to be in his hand, that's the wrong size for that flop, or the big blind is not a good player. Probably had a really good hand and didn't want the guy to fold when he 3-bet from the big blind. But you don't know. You never really know. Bad players. Oh, I'm done. We're done. I will see y'all down the road. Thank you for watching if you watched. Leave a like if you like to. Subscribe if you wish. And good luck at the tables.